Brian Lee here with another video tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you how it's possible to host Shotgun Professional running natively underneath Microsoft Windows. Although the version of Windows that you use must be a 32-bit version of Windows, because unfortunately the software is still 16-bit code and relies on NTVDM, which only comes in a 32-bit OS. So it could be Windows 7, Windows XP, Windows 8, 10, as long as it's 32-bit. Now here I'm running Windows Server 2003, 32-bit. So to set up the environment though, the first thing to do is you want to add your system variables, your path variable. Now this is the one that's default inside of Windows Server 2003, so you'll want to copy yours as well. And we're going to append a few others to this. Now I'll go over these, what they are. Excuse me. The DOS utility folder. This is just some DOS utilities that I put inside there, like an edit file. There's a few older DOS utilities that doesn't come installed in Windows, so I threw them in there. They're from the DOS 6.22 era, so it'll work. And then, of course, your other variable path is your bin folder for Shotgun. That's necessary. And this one is too. There's the utilities in there, such as line monitor. So if you type in line mon, you'll be able to see who's on your system, and a few others. The archiver, that's just a bunch of old archive utilities that I put inside there, like all your zip, rar, ARJ, and of course the scanner, virus scanner. This is a command line driven, I think it's McAfee. And of course this one's not really necessary for running Windows. This is for the DOS box version. In my last video I showed you how that's possible. It uses BNU within DOSBox, but we're going to use either NetFOSS or SVDM. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, NetFOSS isn't a preferred choice. Let me give you a reason why. The client side connecting to the BBS, the client still has to use DOSBox for the terminal client, SVGA term. But NetFOSS just will, for the life of me, I can't figure out why it won't detect the app protocol on the client side. Now there is a way around that. You could set the device, the serial device, instead of using modem, you could use null modem and tell it the server to connect to, and it works fine. But let's suppose they want to connect to another SVGA or bulletin board system running Shotgun Professional. Nobody wants to have to go and edit an INI file just to connect to another BBS. That's just cumbersome, and so I don't recommend this. But I will go over how it's done. I mean, maybe someone out there can figure it out and they can let me know. But here's how it works. So I have net2BBS, a folder underneath my root of C, and then in there I have a NetFOSS folder and an SVDM folder. So once you've added all these into your path, into your system variables, by the way, after every event variable path you add, you have to have a semicolon. So you want to end the line. I'm just hitting delete, end, and you want to copy it all like this into, I'm not going to save it, you want to copy it into the path folder with no spaces. Let me go down here, and then go ahead and hit save, hit OK, reboot your computer, and once you get back into Windows, you can type in path and they should all show up. If they don't, let's go back to step one. Next thing to do to set up your Windows environment is obviously open up a port. You want to tell it what ports to listen. You want to tell it port 1337 or port 23, whatever it is. And that way, whenever you start up the software, it knows to listen in on that. Now, this is a firewall within Windows. What about the firewall from your router? You have to do port forwarding. So port 1337 is the BBS software port that I use. You have to tell your router to forward port 1337 over to the IP address of your internal machine on your network. And the second step is to set up our net2BBS. So let me show you those commands here. Now, if you're going to use NetFOSS, you have to edit the path where NetFOSS can be found in the NF batch file. Now there's a 64-bit here. I've never worked with it. I know because the BBS software that I plan on using, I heard you could use Leech's SVDM for 64-bit. I heard that works. I've never really wanted to hack Windows. I'm not about to do that to my machine and potentially expose it with a security vulnerability. I mean, although so many people are using it, I feel it's pretty safe, but still, I don't use any software that relies on it, so it doesn't matter anyways. But the only thing you want to do is tell it where to find netfos and the path wherever you drop it, and then add this line at the end. The %1 is for old DOS-based Comport BBS software. Once you do that, save. Go over to your Shotgun software. You want to launch your command prompt. Go into the Shotgun folder, type SG config. Go over to your nodes and device setup. You want to set all nodes to use serial 1 and then fossil driver. And of course, you want to tell it to do speed 115/200. I heard that Telnet, that is the maximum speed, but of course I read somewhere else that you can go higher than that. But I found this works best, and so just leave it at 115/200, CTS and RTS for flow control, and enable full FIFOs at 14. You could leave the default init strings. We're not even worried about init strings since we're not going to use them. We're using a pass, telling it the baud rate. We're just starting the software, passing it from a telnet server directly to the COM. And so your error levels, now they're already set up if you grab my package, but if you've installed your own version of Shotgun Professional, you need to go in there and set up your connection error level events. So here I've created a connection event for 115/200. That's just the name you type in, and then you go to the down, you tell it the speed, error level 100, immediate exit no, and then allow a human caller. And once you've done that, you go ahead and quit this, and you should be able to just launch Net2 BBS and it will accept calls. Now there is a problem with Net2 BBS that I mentioned earlier about the serial not detecting the app protocol. So I've used Syncronet's virtual DOS modem, and I'm not using it from the way that Bertrand said to do it. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Bertrand. So if I mess that up, either way, I'm not using that. I'm using it in the sense of I'm using Net2 BBS to pass to Syncronet's virtual DOS modem and then pass the connection over to Shotgun. And the way you do that is you would type in this command, svdm.exe. You tell it the node to listen on, the handler. Instead of telnet, use raw, and then start your BBS. Now, I put a batch file underneath SVDM that switches directory to my Shotgun folder, and then starts up the BBS on which node. It's just a multi-node batch file. Now, you don't have to do it that way. I'm going to show you which way you could do it. Let's see. Where's that? Net2 BBS. Here it is. You could tell it to just go directly into Shotgun, start sg.exe, listen for a node, and tell it the baud. I'll tell you why I did that batch file. It keeps the Shotgun clean, the Shotgun root folder clean. I'll show you what happens whenever you connect. It creates these DOS extern in the root folder and a few other files. I don't think that's really a bad thing. I'm just letting you know that the DOS extern folder, ret and environment, gets tossed into that folder. And I'm kind of a neat freak, I'll be honest with you. I'm wrapped really tight. I need to see my computer and know, hey, how'd this file get here? What's this about? And so if something changes, I know something happened that wasn't me. It's because I work in IT. I've been working in IT for, I think, 38 years. And if you've ever worked on a team, you know that somebody makes a change or puts something, is like, you don't know what happened, wasn't documented. So it's just an old habit. So if you create a batch file like I did here, and then you run everything from the batch file, the multi-node batch file, your error levels and whatnot, it just throws these two files in here. And it's not a big deal. I mean, again, I'm wrapped really tight. So most IT people that I've known are wrapped that way too. Well, some anyway. So that's how that works. So once you launch that, Net2BBS works absolutely well detecting the YAP protocol through the client side, ANSI, RIP. I will tell you, underneath Server 2003, it ran really slow, the RIP. It works, but it runs so slow that I just don't even bother. I've never been a RIP artist. I mean, I would love to have those skills. I never devoted the time to it, to getting familiar with all the tool sets out there. I think I've used, what was the name of that RIP drawing program? God, I can't remember the name of the RIP program. But in any case, to draw RIP screens, maybe if you're good at it, you guys want to help out, I'd love some help. But let me know what you guys were able to do with Shotgun. I'll show you what it looks like. I got my Net2BBS configured. All I got to do is fire up. Always ask before running this room. Nah, we don't need to do that. We know the software. And then here I'm going on another client machine here. So let's see, minimize this. And we should see the connection here. Now, one more piece of information about running Net2BBS. I discovered an issue. Its bot detection software thinks that DOSBox is a bot. I've been meaning to talk to Mike over at PC Micro about that, seeing if he can do anything about that. But unfortunately, I haven't had any time to work on that. But DOSBox is detected as a port scan for Net2BBS. If you have, here, let me show you. If you go to configure, go down to here and it says anti-hammer. Yeah, that's an anti-hammering thing. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So if you have that set to 1, it won't allow DOSBox to connect to your host. So turn it off or switch to a different method of running, SVDM. I will tell you, Mystic. It's very easy to set up Mystic to run Shotgun Professional. In fact, I'll show you that real quick. Let me go over here. Go to a folder. Actually, it's right here. I copied it in here earlier. Mystic, cut, paste. Okay, so now we're going to run Mystic as our telnet server. And Mystic, CFG, go over to editors, menu editor. Here I have a few of them out there that you can see I play around with backing them up. But if I look underneath matrix, and then I'm using the matrix login, and I'm telling to display an ANSI on it, wait while the system loads. Let's see here, we're going to go to enter, tab down. Yeah, just use external program, DD, and then start VDM that way. Now instead of an asterisk, Mystic uses the % in, so you just have to switch your commands for the telnet server for SVDM from an asterisk to a %, and with the same command, and that'll work fine. And of course you want to give it a hang up immediately after somebody gets back on Mystic. The great thing about using Mystic is you have these options. Let's see, server. You have deny, allow, country blocking. Of course, that has it as well with anti-hammering. You have it works better than Net2BBS. So of course, all those features are built into Net2BBS as well. But I think it's better and more compatible. So if you're looking for an option for that, that's how it works. Anyway, let me know what you guys are able to do with this. I'd love to see what you guys can create with the software. I'm always happy to help. Drop me a line. You can ask anybody. I'm willing to help anybody. I think this community is awesome. Most sysops are incredibly friendly and helpful, and they want to see the community continue to grow and live on. So that's it, folks. Have a great day.